Hello, everybody, and welcome to this astrology video where I'm going to be sharing with all of you the energies for the upcoming eclipse. And we're going to be experiencing on October 2nd a solar eclipse, so a new moon solar eclipse in the sign of Libra. And I hope you guys are as excited as I am for the beginning of a new chapter. And Libra is all about infusing more love, harmony. Where can we infuse also more beauty in our life? So these are themes that are a lot more softer and harmonious than the last eclipse that we had in Pisces. So I don't know if you guys have been feeling as, let's say, transformed as I was, and the people around me too have messaged me that they have been crying a lot, purging a lot of, let's say, deep-seated emotions, maybe from the past, that oftentimes we weren't even aware that we were carrying within our body's emotional, energetic field. So personally, I did experience the last eclipse in Pisces as something quite challenging, but necessary in order for me to let go of a lot of, let's say, emotions. So yeah, and especially within this community of spiritual people or people that are on the self-growth journey, I know that it's been targeting this community even more directly. So I'm hoping you guys had, let's say, a lot of work done, but also are ready to experience this eclipse, which I think is going to come as a breath of fresh air. This is why I'm so excited about this one. I don't know if you guys noticed, but I think I did personally notice a few days ago around the equinox. So on September 22nd, the sun entered the sign of Libra. So we had the equinox where the days and the nights are equal. And for me, I experienced it like as a drastic change of energy for the better. And also, I saw it also in the people around me, like they were behaving differently. Everybody all of a sudden was feeling hopeful for the future. So I don't know if you guys did experience it, but I did personally. And I thought, okay, we're starting to get into this eclipse, which is the Libra solar eclipse. And because it's a new moon eclipse, it means that we're opening up a whole new chapter. And it is special because it's going to be the last eclipse we're experiencing in the sign of Libra for this series that has been ongoing since a year and a half. So the very first eclipse of the Aries Libra axis eclipse that we've undergone was in October, so precisely on October 14 of 2023. So try to remember what was going on in your life. And now we're having the very last eclipse of the series in the sign of Libra. So something along the lines of what was maybe happening in your life back in October of 2023 of last year will be likely culminating, or we're going to be seeing a whole transformation under that topic that was being experienced in last October. So what it means basically when we have eclipses along an axis for a year and a half is that we're experiencing transformation. And this axis of Aries and Libra is all about relationships and partnerships and finding an equal give and take within the energy exchange, also finding harmony. Of course, Libra is also about compromises. So, and also tweaking the relationship dynamics to find more equality, happiness, fulfillment within our relationships and partnerships. So finding sacred relationships, sacred partnerships, or tweaking them into being more, let's say, harmonious balance within the divine feminine and the divine masculine energy. So this is what we've been doing for the past year and a half. So as you can see, it was not something for the faint of heart. Everybody has been ongoing, doing, let's say, work on their own inner balance to welcome in more balanced relationships, but also doing, let's say, a work that we do every day. And we say that relationships are, let's say, the real test of the human experience, because yeah, it's all cool and dandy when we're doing the spiritual work, like say isolated in a mountain, because we only have to face ourselves. But whenever we get in contact with other people, this is where the real spiritual work begins, because then they project onto us shadow sides of ourselves that then we have to, let's say, make compromises, be okay with, accept, in order for us to integrate those shadow sides within us. So the others are acting up as mirrors, basically, for us to be integrating parts of ourselves that we didn't want to see, or we weren't seeing, or that we don't like about ourselves. So this is why relationships, let's say after the honeymoon phase, are so, let's say, we say that, let's say, for example, marriage is a constant work. It's not something that you get into and you're like, yeah, it's just gonna flow without me having to do any kind of work. So people that have been married for a long time say it over and over, that it takes hard work in order to make a marriage work, because it's a constant give and take, and also a constant work on integrating your shadow sides and the shadow sides of the other person. So I find that it is so interesting, because it is where we can really integrate the spiritual work that we've done on ourselves, is when we get into relationships with other, and not just saying like romantic relationships. Of course, there are also business relationships, partnerships, friendships, relationships with our family members. These are all acting as catalysts for our spiritual growth. So this is where we know that we're really in the Earth School program, and we're really learning how to grow as a soul, basically. So this is kind of what the Libra part of the Aries Libra axis of eclipses has been all about. And now with this last eclipse in Libra, we're opening up a new chapter where we can find more harmony, love, balance within those relationships. And also for us to be okay and have, let's say, our shadow sides more, a little bit more integrated within ourselves. And also it talks about, of course, the balance within our inner divine feminine and our inner divine masculine, because our inner balance defines what we're going to experience in the outer world. Yeah, so very excited. This is the last one. And since it is a new moon, as I said, we're opening up a new chapter with all the baggage and all the learning experiences that we've undergone for the last year and a half, helping us in order to know what we need, what we don't need, what we want for the future, how can we make it work, and knowing more who we are as an individual Aries in order for our relationships to be more aligned. So, and this is so interesting because although it is a new moon solar eclipse, it's also conjunct the South node, which is the more spiritual influence. It's an energy of detaching from the past. It is a very karmic influence. So a lot of karmic relationships, karmic lessons, also from past lives, from the past, are also being interwoven in the picture of this eclipse. So yes, although there is a potential for single people to meet, a very strong potential, If you meet someone new around this eclipse, for example, you're going to meeting likely someone you had a lot of karma with. And this is not something bad. Karma, I think we have karma with almost everybody, especially the people that are destined on our path. And it just means that there is a lot of past lives that we have in common. So those people, when we meet them, are going to feel like we've known them forever. This is what karma is because we have a history together. And not necessarily saying it's a bad history, just it's a history. So of course, there's going to be stuff, let's say, popping up all of a sudden that stem from the past, not necessarily from this lifetime. And we have to understand the source of where little patterns, behaviors are coming from. So, but although it signifies a very karmic energy, the South Node, it also talks about detaching ourselves from the past, letting go, forgiving people from the past, letting go also of past karmic patterns, let's say, that we had that might have been sabotaging our need for true union with someone else. So this is all happening, but also we need to make space in the area where this eclipse is going to fall in your birth chart. So look up where 10 degree of Libra falls in your birth chart. What house is it going to activate? And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, just look at the October prediction video I did with my sister, Sophie, and we went through all the 12 zodiac signs, and we were making predictions also, and I'm talking about the house there where it's going to be activated for you specifically. But it's wherever it is falling in your own birth chart, you'll have an idea of something you need to let go, where you need to make space for that new chapter who wants to begin in your life. So that's very exciting. And South Node has an energy that is contrary to material possession. Whenever we have the North Node being activated, it's a more materialistic energy. Like we want to get more status, more money, more experience. We're like thirsty for the human experience, everything that comes with it in the material world, which is not a bad thing. But whenever we have something activated like this eclipse, the South Node, it is rather a more spiritual energy that we're looking for. We're looking for, let's say, outside of status, material, what is it, let's say, in the case of relationships, because we're talking about Libra here, what is it that is making me draw to this person? What it is that magnetizes me to that relationship? And how can we make it more spiritual? How can we get to the core of something? Removing the excess, removing the superficial stuff. And it's interesting because Libra can be about superficial stuff. But in this case, it's taking like all the unnecessary and superficial stuff out of whatever we want to start in order for us to get to the core of what's important for us, what's really at the core of our soul's intention for this eclipse, South Node. Okay, so I said that I have my notes on the side to make sure I'm not forgetting anything while I talk because I'm so excited about this eclipse. So, okay, before I share my slide, because yes, I have made a slide, I'm gonna share with you guys, it's gonna be visible in a part of Argentina and Chile, which is pronounced Chile, I believe, in English. So I will share with you here. So this is the path of visibility of the eclipse. So this is a new moon solar eclipse that's going to be annular. And you can see here it's going to be visible here within the spectrum. But although it might not be visible from where you are in the world, it doesn't mean that it's not going to affect you, because eclipses are destined events. So it's kind of the universe or source or God. So just take the word that resonates for you, that realigns you or bring karmic destined events on your path in order for you to remember, why are you here? What are you here to do? What are you here to experience? So it might be people that you have to, let's say, welcome into your life, partner with in some kind of way. It might be events, travels, it might be business, professional related. So anything really, but it's kind of where we have a little bit less free will than usual. Well, free will, yes, it's debatable, but let's just say that there is a strong destined energy. And yes, free will is important because obviously this is a new moon, so it's kind of a portal of energy that allows you to start something. So yes, there's free will involved, but also the universe is playing a big part. This is what I want to say here. Okay, so yes, it's not the complete final of the series of eclipses within Aries and Libra, because we're going to have one last eclipse within this axis in March of next year in the sign of Aries, but this is the last one in the sign of Libra. So it's like the graduation eclipse of Libra. So it's time to really use what you have been learning in the past year and a half and really start something with that wisdom, that newfound wisdom. What else did I want to say here? So yes, we are opening up to well-balanced relationship and partnerships after an intense year and a half of personal and relationship transformation. So I want to share with you shortly the slide. So the slide of the chart, I want to say, of this eclipse. So as you can see, there is a lot of points in the sign of Libra. So the archetype of Libra will be very strong. And I love this because Libra is all about balance. It's all about love, commitment. So there could be a new commitment or something that is being started or a project that asks of you to really commit to it. So Libra is all about also contracts, either verbal contracts or written contracts, but it is the sign, the archetype of longevity within partnerships and relationships. So Libra wants to seal the deal basically with partnerships. So that's why it's associated with marriage, with contracts, with business contracts, all of that stuff. But contracts is great for Libra because they want long-term balanced partnerships, sort of a ride or die energy. So within partnerships, in the best sense of the expression. So as you can see, the sun and the moon are together at 10 degree, 4 minutes of the sign of Libra. And that's normal because whenever we have the sun and the moon all together, it means it's a new moon. So you won't be seeing any moon in the sky. That's normal. And we say also after a new moon, whatever seed is being planted at the time of this new moon, it says that we're going to start seeing either synchronicities, signs, or results of whatever is being planted at the time of this new moon, whenever we can see a slight sliver of the moon. So when the moon's completely invisible, it's the time to plant intentions. It's the time to plant seeds, to really think about what you want to manifest. And especially because it's an eclipse, meaning that it's going to be at least 3 times the usual strength of a new moon. So it's like a really strong new moon, especially for manifestation and intention. So I would highly suggest that you take this time that we're sandwiched between both eclipses to really think about what you'd like to manifest for this new moon. And also I would highly suggest to do something like a vision board, some form of ritual that involves what Libra is all about. So Libra is all about beauty, harmony, shapes, colors, symmetry. So let's say creating some beauty, some form of beauty or love, or doing something with a partner, a sacred ritual with a partner. that can be really, really strong. And I said a vision board is probably one of the best thing you can do for this eclipse in Libra. Libra is all about the aesthetics, the visual, and make sure it's really you like the aesthetics of whatever you're creating. Or it could be just an altar that you're creating with, let's say, you can put tarot cards about what you want to manifest, or pictures, or crystals, anything that you find pretty that aligns with your intention. I think is going to be super powerful. So I went on a tangent here, but I guess it was really important for my guys for me to be sharing that with you. So sun and moon together, it's because it's a new moon. And what makes it an eclipse is the proximity of one of the nodes. And in this case, it's the south node, which talk about karma, the past lives, dissolving, alchemizing, making more spiritual, having more of a soul's perspective, which is not about the material in this time. And here, a little surprise guest is Black Moon Lilith, which is going to be exactly conjunct by degree for this eclipse. And Black Moon Lilith is a very, very interesting archetype. It's a feminine archetype that talks about more of the shadow feminine, or the dark side of the feminine, which has also a high frequency manifestation, which wants more equality, wants to have their voice being heard. And I think it's very, let's say, interesting that we have Black Moon Lilith within this eclipse, because Libra wants equality and balance. Lilith wants equality and balance. Also integration of the shadow sides, Lilith. And plus we have Mercury here. Mercury, which is the planet of communication. So we can be having important news around this eclipse, or also we could be starting something. And depending also on, of course, your rising sign, because let's say if you have this eclipse in the 10th house or the 6th house, it's going to be more, I think it's going to have a more professional twist to this eclipse for you. But if that's the case, then it can talk about starting a new project with work, a new communication project, Mercury, also making plans, Mercury, for a partnerships, a wedding, an event that, let's say, deals with another people or more people. So it's a very social energy. So as I said, Mercury can deal with planning, it can deal with communication, it can deal with writing, speaking, creating in general. So that's a very exciting energy. I love having Mercury part of eclipses, because I feel like we get excited for the future, we plan, we are busy little bees. And that's, that puts like an energy of excitement in the air, which I love. Also, we could be having really important conversation within partnerships, and around what? Around the future. So I think this is going to be the main element, because one, we have this eclipse at the 10th degree, which is a Capricorn degree. Capricorn can be associated with career, but it's also associated with long-term plans for the future. And also there's two fixed stars that are falling on this eclipse. And one that spoke to me more was a fixed star called Porima, which was the ancient Roman goddess of the future and prophecy. So it's part of the Virgo constellation, and it says that it holds the energy of Mercury and Venus. So we have like a double whammy on the mercurial energy, and it says that it's associated with honor, intellect, great learning, so business activity, gain through books and intellectual matters. So I love the fact that through all the Capricorn degree, through the fixed star Porima to Mercury, we're really talking about making plans for the future. We're talking about setting the foundations for a harmonious, fulfilling, beautiful future. So that's why I'm so excited about this eclipse. And yes, some people are going to say that there is a T-square to Mars, which I'm not going to deny, but I'm going to explain to you why it might bring some, let's say, useful anger. So I don't know how to say that better, but I think you're going to understand while I'm trying to explain that to you. So Mercury is here at 15 degrees of Cancer, and it's going to stay in the sign of Cancer for a few months, so for a while now. And it's definitely not the best, let's say, energy for Mars to be in, because Mars is exalted in the sign of Capricorn. So here it loses a lot of strength in the sign of Cancer, and Cancer is so emotional. Mars is like this anger, passive aggressive energy in the sign of Cancer. But also, on the good side of things, it can be this fire, this fuel that we need in order to protect our loved ones, our house, our living situation, or just to act from a place of a heart-centered, let's say, motivation. So, but for that, of course, we have to channel Mars in a more evolved way, because in Cancer, it can be very primitive, acting like very reactive, because we want to protect or we are afraid. Cancer can be very linked to fear also. So there could be conflicts with this T-square, and that's a T-square also, of course, because we have both of the nodes here. And Chiron can also be taken as part of that T-square. So Mars is here. But on the good side of things, yes, I said conflicts is a possibility. Let's say, I'm thinking in other languages at the same time, and it's not really useful for this video. Can want to overcome, yes, that's the word I was looking for, overcome difficulties relating to family, to personal life, to living situation. But in the process of overcoming those difficulties, obstacles, yes, there is a potential for conflict. There is a potential for, let's say, emotions really running high, and saying stuff that we don't necessarily mean because we're fearful of what the future holds, or we want to protect or defend the people that we love. So just keep in mind that there is this potential that can erupt. But if we use this as a vector of positive change, I think it can be a great force of taking action, because this same Mars is part of a grand trine, a water grand trine, that is, with Venus in Scorpio and Saturn in Pisces. So those three planets are creating what we call a grand trine. So you can see here, there's a blue triangle. A grand trine is very, very beneficial and positive in astrology. And I love because it's Mars and Venus, and we're talking about relationships in Libra, which is all about a balanced relationship, a happy relationship, a long-term relationship. And the other third party of that relationship is Saturn, the planet of longevity and stability. So through, and water is all about emotion, the emotional realm. It's all about the spiritual realm as well. So to me, it talks about sacred relationships. It talks about creating the foundations of something that will stand the test of time, of, let's say, creating relationships with people that truly understand who we are at our core. So this is beautiful. And as you can see, yes, it's making a square, but this same Mars is in a beautiful alignment with those three planets. So let's see if I said everything that I wanted to share in my notes. Okay, yes. About Lilith and about the sign of Libra, I wrote here, integration of the multiple facets of the divine feminine. So Venus is in Scorpio. So Venus in Scorpio is not at its best, but Venus in Scorpio has beautiful strengths also. So Venus is usually more about harmony, beauty, the divine feminine, but the soft side of, let's say, Aphrodite, of Venus. But in Scorpio, it's like Scorpio wants depth, wants substance, wants to see everything. Also, wants to be sure Venus wants to be sure they can trust someone whenever she's in Scorpio. So I think it's not just integrating like the soft side of the divine feminine, it's also integrating the dark side of the divine feminine and the sexual side of the divine feminine and all of the flaws that Venus may have, but she doesn't show them on a regular basis. And also Venus in Scorpio talks a lot about trust, talks about truth. Mercury is also part of the eclipse, so it really talks about not just idealizing a situation or a relationships or what it is, but really seeing what it is at its core, seeing the good, bad, and the ugly, but alchemizing that in order to see the beauty, I think, within the shadow as well. So we're talking also about an inner balance of relationship within ourselves, of Venus and Lilith. So the good girl and the bad girl, if we want. And I'm not talking just about women here, because everybody has an inner feminine side, but it's not just the pretty stuff. It's about being okay also with the vulnerability, the shadow sides, the dark feminine, all of that stuff. And with that, it's also talking about the integration of many past lifetimes where we have been playing so many different archetypes of the divine feminine and uniting all of those different facets to carry on with fulfilling relationships. So now we're not just replaying old scenarios, old scripts of, let's say, how we have been experiencing relationships in past lives with all our traumas or wounds, generational traumas, ancestral traumas. Now we're redefining that, and we're trying to integrate all of the different experiences to be born anew and to have more fulfilling relationships, happy, balanced relationships, whatever it means for you. And it's going to be different for everybody. As I'm saying that, my light just went off, so I don't know if it's a message. I guess I'm touching something important. So also, because it's next to the South Node, we're breaking away from past karma, breaking away from what has been holding us back into experiencing divine relationships, divine unions within ourselves, within also our exterior relationships, past karmic patterns. And we are, at the moment of this eclipse, writing a totally new destiny, a totally new script. So remember the fixed star that I talked about, Parima, which is all about future and prophecy. So now we're stepping into uncharted territory, because a lot of times, and I see that often, especially with people that have been, let's say, being brought up within dysfunctional type of families, I see that what feels secure for them is to replay old patterns of scarcity, trauma, cheating, not being trustworthy, not trusting the other, wanting drama. But all of that is just an unconscious way of feeling secure, because that's what you know. That's what you've been experiencing without even bringing it to a conscious level. But this eclipse is saying now you're letting all that go and you're ready to step into something that's going to feel uncomfortable because you have never done it before. And every time you want to come back to that old ways of doing things, because let's say drama, or let's say having a jealous partner, for example, makes you feel loved and wanted. But we all know that this is not true love. It's possessivity. It's replaying old traumas over and over. But now we're stepping away from that. So it's going to feel like an uncharted territory. And at times we might come back to those patterns with Venus in Scorpio. But remember, it's making a grand trine. So it's time to alchemize that. It's time to also realize what patterns, unhealthy patterns, we're replaying over and over, because it just feels secure, because it's just what we have known until now, either in this lifetime or past lifetimes. So yes, Venus and Scorpio, Mercury are part of the equation. So wanting truth and trust is being interwoven at the core of what's being created around this eclipse. Trust in your partner, your relationships, but also in the universe and in yourself. So trusting the universe also is something that I feel some people might have an urge to try to control every single thing in their environment, because they lack this trust in the universe. So, and especially when we're talking about eclipses, they are so destined and karmic that I think it's very, very important to connect with your guide, connect with your higher self, because you have to trust whatever is happening is for your highest good. Yeah, I highlighted the word compromise. Yes, because it's in the sign of Libra, of course. So everybody, I think, is going to be juggling with important relationships and important relationship themes around this eclipse, even if you're not in a romantic relationship. Compromises, seeing the other person's perspective, finding a middle ground, finding harmony, finding peace, all of what Libra represents. In the collective, we might be experiencing topics around peace, war. Hopefully it's more peace than war. Alliances, which is Libra, being created or dissolved. Also, there could be contracts, a theme that very much surrounds the archetype of Libra. So contracts between people, organizations, business, alliances, or crises relating to negotiation, also arts, trading agreements. So that's for the collective. And of course, relationships, we could be seeing celebrities splitting or getting into relationship or weddings. All of that stuff can also be on the forefront of the world, because a solar eclipse in ancient astrology is said to be impacting more of the rulers, so the celebrities, the people that are more in the limelight publicly. So with that being said, let me step into my slide. So here we are. I think it's a beautiful one. So in the calendar, and you can download the free calendar for the rest of this year. I'll put the link in the description box below. So if you're watching this, the link is already here. I put here a star, and in my legend, it says beautiful breakthroughs, I believe. So it's a beautiful energy. I really love this eclipse, 10 degrees of Libra. And I call this one a new hope, which if you're a Star Wars fan, you're going to resonate with, because really I was trying to find another title, but it's really what came up to me and how I felt about this eclipse. And this is kind of, as I'm doing this video, not so much in advance, I can already kind of feel the energy signature for this eclipse, and I feel like everybody's more hopeful for the future, and there's this kind of excitability that is in the air. And I believe Elena was saying in one of the videos we did about this eclipse that it's kind of the electricity that we can feel before Christmas. Like the kids are super agitated because they're excited. And so this is kind of the energy, because, or Christmas or New Year's, so just take it as it resonates for you. But it's kind of, we're ready to start fresh, to start something new, and we're feeling that this excitability in the air. So it's a great time to launch a new writing, speaking, social media, communication project, because we're talking about Mercury. Also, the fixed star Porrima adds to this energy, with being also the nature of Mercury, and Venus can also be something Venusian with this influence. So arts, beauty, having some photos taken, for example, redecorating. So anything that's aesthetic, that deals with also making deals with other people, negotiations, contracts, all of that stuff is very, very powerful at the moment. Also, we could be creating a new phase of our lives full of harmony, beauty, and love. So that's the highest frequency of Libra. Another chance at a love opportunity. So I love that. So it could also be a new love cycle started in the past. So I talked about earlier the people that are single that could meet someone, a karmic partner. And for people that are already in relationships, there is a chance for a renewed loving phase in this relationship. So it could be also people that, let's say, stop dating for a moment and they reconnect around this eclipse. But whatever's happening, Libra is not the sign of dating. I shall say here at the moment. So Leo's more the sign of the honeymoon phase dating. Whenever you're meeting someone around a strong Libra energy, like this eclipse, it's more a long-term partner. It's a committed partner or a relationship that has the potential to grow with time and long-term. So it could also be people reconnected and having another chance, or really changing the dynamic of a relationship, letting go of the superficial stuff, South Node, healing, let's say, past karmic patterns within the relationships, but also having this potential for this new start. We will be viewing relationships in a more integrated way, more spiritual, also thinking about soul contracts. So what does this relationship bring to you on a soul level? South Node. So with the South Node, we kind of take all the superficial material 3D stuff away from the equation, and we see it from the soul's perspective. What's really important when we're going to be on the other side once we die in this incarnation? What are we going to take away from what we are experiencing at the moment? So it's definitely not let's say, details about the stuff that we're having, but it's more like the core of the experience, what this soul brings to you. What were you able to work on a soul level, having this person in your life? Also, really beautiful energy to change soul contracts, to be aware, first of all, of what your soul contract is with someone, and to release some parts of it that you don't like. Let's say, for instance, I'm going to take myself and my sister, for example. When we did past life regressions, both of us, we saw that our initial soul contracts was war, and was it something like division and competition and war? So we changed that, and we acknowledged that. We were like, okay, that was from the past, and we have been living past lives over and over as being enemies. And now we were like, okay, let's change that. So we consciously changed it, and we decided to work in a team to both, let's say, help us move towards our life missions in this lifetime. And our life missions are very much connected. So I think it's a really beautiful way, a beautiful portal of energy to work on that, if you want to work in this direction, of course, and starting on a fresh new basis with someone, especially that you have a lot of karma with South Node. Okay, so of course, having the South Node there, and Libra can talk about separation, divorce. So some will finalize separation legal documents. Could also talk about a business relationship, business partnership. So there could be a dissolution of an old agreement, but whatever's being dissolved allows you to create space for a new one, for a more aligned partner or a more aligned agreement to come into your life, because it's a new moon. So there's this interesting paradigm within this eclipse that we have to let go or sacrifice something or end something to create space for newness. So we talked about separation, divorce, and of course we're going to talk marriage because, as I said, some can be, for instance, separating to start a new relationship on a solid foundation, or to finalize divorce papers so that they could marry, for example, or yeah, so that can be something along those lines, but it's not going to be about their divorce or marriage for everybody, of course. Some could get married or sign contracts with a soulmate. So just know that you probably have lots of karma with that person, not necessarily bad. That could be very positive karma as well. Or you could be planning something along the lines of a contract, a marriage, an event, a partnership, a collaboration. You could be planning because Mercury is part of it. There could be a professional new start with a commitment, a signature, a contract, official document. So think about what can really cement a partnership, a contract, some way to make it really official with Mercury and Libra. For some, an agreement that it was on standby for a while is finally made, finally official. Also, there could be a karmic, a rebalancing of polarities, of power between men and women, between two partners. So rebalancing the balance. And with Lilith, we're talking about healing and regaining wholeness with a spiritual practice, because South Node is very spiritual. So it's a really good time to integrate that. And of course, you can be receiving news about partnership, relationships that rectify this karmic balance. What else did I want to say about that? Yeah, so I talked briefly about the square to Mars. So I said there could be arguments, harsh negotiations. That could then lead to peace. So that's the good side of it. But yes, with the square to Cancer, yes, just know that that can mean obstacles, negotiations that are not so easy. But with Libra, which is the sign of peace, that could lead to peace. Mars is more like a call to action. I do not recommend any kind of passivity in let's say the days surrounding this eclipse, because you could feel this, like, say, inner anger if things are not moving, or if you don't want to move, if you're resisting change, for instance. Mars, and because Mars is also part of this eclipse, Mars wants you to act. Mars wants change. Mars wants to be on the go. So just know that, let's say, there could be passive aggressive also behaviors because people are not, let's say, responsible for their own action or taking action. There's this need to agree with a partner. There also could be decisions that could be made around the family, the roots, place of living, children, and there could be arguments within this realm of things. Just know that within Libra, there is a strong potential to come to a compromise and understanding, but in the process of, there could be, let's say, arguments. And lastly, I want to talk about the Grand Trine, which is beautiful within Mars, Venus, and Saturn. And I love that because this water Grand Trine, all in water signs, consists of planet that represents air, fire, and earth in this water Grand Trine. So we have the four elements. So I think it's a beautiful dance, a beautiful balance, and balance is also the sign of Libra. So there is this beautiful potential to feel like whole, to have everything that we need for our happiness, our personal fulfillment, to also go in the world and to create what we want to create, to have more beauty, love, balance, harmony. Making plans for the long term with a relationship. I said that. Feminine and masculine coming together to commit to a common goal. Commit is the key word here, and common goal because we're talking about the future. Also, there is this beautiful dance of going with the flow with a relationship, showing your emotional vulnerability. It's in water signs. Emotions might be running high, just a small little detail that I wanted to mention for everybody. And there is a strong potential also to heal the past, water, and focus your energy on the future. So as you can see, this is a very powerful eclipse. And if you'd like to help, let's say, channel the manifestation, your own personal manifestation in the best way possible, we have an offering here on the Maison Jupiter website. And we're going to be making an activation, so a guided meditation with singing bowls. So it's going to be very spiritual. So South Node is encouraging all of the spiritual practices in order to manifest the best out of a portal of energy such as this eclipse. And we call this one Between Fate and Destiny, to really make sure that you're, let's say, empowering yourself with all the tools in order to make the best choices, the best changes, and changes in your external world start, of course, with your own energy within yourself. So if you are making sure that your frequency is as high as it can be, you're co-creating your best future possible. And you're allowing yourself also to tap into your guidance with your higher self, your guides. So this is our intention here for this beautiful solar eclipse in Libra activation with Elena and myself. So it's going to be on the exact day of the eclipse, October 2nd at 8 p.m. Eastern. And if you're not available at this precise time, you're going to be able to watch it on replay, and it's going to be as powerful on replay. So we created a package if you'd like to get both activation with the one that we did on September 17th. With the one on October 2nd. So it's possible to have the package of both that is discounted if you want both. And you can listen to the September 17th in replay if you haven't already. Or if you prefer just to do the October 2nd one, there is a separate package. And you will find that here on the maisonjupiter.academy website. And the links are below in the description box. So here, if you scroll down, there is the option of purchasing both together at the discounted price, or the individual activation for October 2nd if you'd like to join us over here. So it's going to be super powerful. Very excited to share that with you. So thank you for watching this video. Of course, if you did enjoy the content, please do not forget to like, share, subscribe the video. It's a really these are small actions that really can go far, and we do appreciate it so much. Thank you so much, guys. I wish you a beautiful, beautiful eclipse. I'm very excited for it, as you can see. I think it's a much needed energy that we all need to step away from the dark, not dark, but let's say dense energies that we were purging. So many emotions. A lot of people had trouble to sleep. Or crying a lot. So I think we're going to move away from that into creating beauty in our lives. So I'm very excited for it. So thank you for watching, and see you.